Hi, it's a video reply to Traditional American. Thanks for the message to alerting me to your videos. I'd already seen your first video and I really didn't decide to reply to it because I don't really debate fundamentalists a lot or try to communicate with them a great deal. But you have asked for some answers, so I figure I at least could give you what I have and from my perspective, as from my atheistic perspective. In your first video, you ask about time ticking, and you hold up a clock and indicate to us that if time is so precious to us, if this is all we have, then why would you waste your time trying to talk sense to other people? And I think I can't speak for other atheists, but for the reason that I would make an atheist video and try to talk to religious people, first off, I don't really try to talk to fundamentalists a lot. I've tried to underline that in my videos. And secondly, the moderates that I try to talk to, I don't try to convince them of atheism so much as show them why I have a trouble with what they believe. Atheists also think that you have a limited amount of time, in the same way that we would be limited in time. And our problem would be, or at least from my perspective, that we have to live under superstition, or that you do, and that this causes a bit of a problem. That the lack of reasoning and the lack of logic is scary. And quite frankly, to be surrounded by people who believe in fairy tales and superstition as a way to lead their lives is unnerving enough to motivate people to make videos as much as anybody else, and for any other reason anybody else would want to make a video, only perhaps for a more altruistic sense. Now, what's altruism for an atheist? And again, where does that come from? Same as it comes from yourself, and it's from within ourselves. It's our own sense of decision as to what's right and wrong. That's the way we all decide. And atheistic reasoning isn't limited to their moral perspective. It's largely accomplished through their philosophical perspective and what they logically resolve. So to imply that there's just moral reasoning for atheism it would be incorrect. Your second video sort of answers the question of your first video when you're asking, surely you've seen a video where the atheists are saying that religions cause a lot of wars and stuff like that. And so, of course, this would be a common atheist argument as well. All the wars and strife are caused by religions, and therefore religion's bad. The way I've always interpreted arguments in respect to inquisitions and crusades and wars due to religion is to show the irony of religions who claim to have a moral high ground doing some of the most immoral acts, or most of the most immoral acts ever committed were done in the name of these gods that most of the theists don't believe in anyway. So why theists feel so offended when they know that the God that they believe in would never ascend to that kind of an action is only, it shows the degree of self-righteousness that they take upon themselves to feel attacked when they weren't even attacked. If I talk about Hitler being a Christian, I leave you most rest assured that my mother was a Christian, and Hitler would not share the same values on many things. It doesn't mean it's an attack on her Christianity if I claim that Hitler was a Christian. Hitler was a Christian. Nonetheless, it doesn't mean that that what he was believing in was the same. Nobody's saying that all Christians are the same, or all Christian beliefs are the same. So, again, I would talk about the Inquisitions or the Crusades as a matter of examples where the moralists trying to take the high ground really show no moral advantage at all with their spirituality. And to imply that Darwin says that wars are good as an example of science saying that war is good is absolutely ridiculous. That's just funny. No such thing could be said. Again, refer to my comments about the survival of the fittest, which wasn't even claimed by Darwin, but the element of Darwin that could be interpreted this way, that talks about that, is between different species, not between the same species. So it's a completely erroneous application of Darwin. I mean, who could believe that? I don't understand how or why you do. You talk about the atomic bomb in a humorous way, and this was something I appreciated. First off, an atheist believes there's no God, and there's nothing else that can be associated to an atheist. They don't necessarily believe in science the way that you want to attribute them to, or put some kind of faith or something into science the way that you seem to want to imply that atheists do. And so, other than the fact that they believe that there's no God, there's really nothing else that unites atheists at all. They can be any stripe of people, they can be any stripe of politics, they can be anything. There's nothing to say that they believe that there even is an atom bomb. They might be skeptical of that as well, and still be atheists. So for you to associate atheism with all these things that doesn't even involve atheists is something that I suppose makes it easier for you to categorize atheists into believing things that they don't believe, and then you attack that, and it makes you feel better. Then you imply that atheists are going to say that they get their morals from science, and again, this is pretty bizarre thought, because I've never heard this from any atheist. So I don't even know where you get that from. It's something that's just pulled out of the air that has no real sense to it. I don't even understand it. Who would say that? Anyway, clearly morals and those understandings are not an atheist issue. It's something that's studied by modern ethics. In modern ethics, they'll teach that ethical conclusions are resolved through subjective understanding, and that is, without the subject, they can't be resolved at all. And it takes an individual to make that decision as to what's right or wrong. When we reach a consensus of opinion, and this is what we can talk about objectivity when it comes to justice, morals, law, and this kind of thing. It works with cultures, subcultures, and this is what's taught and how it works. It's nothing to do with atheism. It's another problem where the fundamentalist has a problem with what's taught as basic understanding today in universities as to what's basic in ethics, what's basic in logic, what's basic in biology, is all in violation to what a fundamentalist says. I mean, they have trouble with so many different aspects of what is today modern understanding. And it's not even an atheistic question. Ethics has nothing to do with atheism. Because you are an atheist, that is, you believe that there's no God, I mean, it doesn't mean that you believe anything about ethics. You might believe that ethics doesn't exist, and still believe there's no God, and still be an atheist. And then again, at the end here, or getting closer to the end, you again claim that, according to Darwin, that if we don't survive the war, that we weren't the fittest. But again, the aspect of Darwinism that talks about survival of the fittest, and it doesn't even mention that by phrase, but the part that does discuss that element to it, has nothing to do with between species. It's between different species, you know? The bird catches the mice, and in certain regions, while the mice go extinct, the birds are full. As soon as they do, they have less to eat. You know, it's talking about survival of the fittest in between species, different species. According to Darwin, no, according to you, because Darwin never said any such thing.